try. Just another beam in the track.
It's Monday night, and you know what that means?
Yeah. Do you want to tell them what it means?
You tell them what it means.
It's time for
You know
Attractions
what-
Ultimatum, and tonight is the last quarter-final. And if you want to enter the competition on our Instagram, it closes at 8 p.m. tonight. And there's a post on there to tell you everything about it. Yeah, and a mug as well. That's boxed. But first, let's just introduce everyone, because that's the way we do things around here.
It is.
So, without further ado, do you want to introduce them first?
Right, who am I introducing first? So we're introducing James and Sarah, the trekking tailors. Hello! And then next we are going to introduce, who am I introducing now? Joe from Thrill Waves. Sorry.
Live TV mates.
Hello.
mystery.
So sorry, I am not used to talking, by the way, so Mike's actually given me a chance, and I've just gone a bit. Blah, 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 blah. So the next one we have is Theme Park Escape David Bly.
Hello.
The man of mystery,
Yeah.
which we found out was his birthday the day after our previous.
Yeah, you didn't tell us.
Oh,
Happy birthday for that, David.
Thank you.
And last but not least,
Oh, go on, then you take
it's
over.
a theme park banana, Daryl Dazza Morgan. How you doing, Daryl? Well, now, I'm hoping we don't get a lawsuit after the stuff he said last week, but Daryl said that he wanted to go first this week because he has got some information about. Well, did you want to explain to everyone about the rides? You said you've not been on them, but you can introduce
first
them.
of all, really, it's basically I've not done both the rides basically in person, but I've got some interesting facts and also theories really, because I've seen both rides in person, but I've not actually ridden them. But there's one that I think needs a bit of improvement before it actually ended, and there's one that I think that should still be here. So. Yeah, but before really all of that, are you sure that TV is allowed behind you? Because we might get, ITV might get us pulled off if we don't get rid of that TV.
Oh, we don't watch ITV. It's rubbish.
Okay then. All right.
Do you want to tell us about? Did you want to talk about G-Force at all, Daryl?
Yeah. Now, I've never ridden it, but I actually like it. I actually do like the ride. I like the colours of the ride. I like the theming. To me, this ride has more theming in every aspect. And also as well, actually, I think it's an incredible ride. Shame it's closed, really, because I would have actually ridden it, actually, if it was still open. But I loved the theming element of it. I loved the storyline of it as well. That's what I loved about it.
What's it?
And yeah, it is an incredible ride. Even though I've not ridden it, I think it would actually, it was actually an incredible ride to look at in person. And I know somebody people in the family and lots of people I know have ridden it, and they said it was one of the best. So it's a shame that it's gone, but if it was still around, I would have rode it, I think. And
Can I just ask Daryl, what's the story behind it?
Well, the storyline, I think it was to do with some sort of aircraft or something like that. I don't know the full story. I think it was to do with some aircraft, as far as I'm aware, anyway. That's why it's got red track on it.
Oh, like red arrows.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
It's like a giant toy.
Yeah.
So
But it's an
David,
incredible ride, anyway, to look at, anyway.
oh yeah, it's different to look at. Yeah, I'll give you that. David, what are your thoughts on G-Force?
Okay, well, it might look all right to look at, and I can see a picture of Maelstrom in front of it, which is a lot better ride. But just on that picture there, the restraints for a start. I mean, the unique part about it is you go up that inversion. That's like the lift hill. That is very unique.
Yeah, it pulls you through.
Yeah.
It isn't very comfortable when you get to the top, I recall. The restraint itself's quite tight, and that's about the only good part I seem to remember of it. The actual going up the lift hill's quite unusual into that inversion, but it wasn't a very good ride. I just didn't find it very comfortable.
Oh, Daniel in the chat, thank you for joining us. To include it on here, he said he think his last ride was with David and Mike on G-Force as well. So
His
And
last
even he
his last
thinks
ride
the
on any coaster.
restraints-
After that, it was so bad.
Even he thinks the restraints are horrid and uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but
Do we know
of course,
why
it's
it
each their own,
closed?
isn't it, at the minute?
I don't
Why
really
did
get any-
G4 go? Because it looked quite modern.
It was
Mm.
quite.
It wasn't around for long. I don't
2005.
think.
It was
I remember-
2005.
Actually, I don't know if
Built
it
in
was an ITV
2004,
show.
opened in 2005. So it's a fairly new ride.
Mm.
I don't know if it was from an ITV show, Daryl, because I know you're an ITV fan, but I know that the like kind of choir group G4 rode this when it first opened as a publicity thing. I've not got a photo of it, but I know that happened.
I
No,
think
that
so,
was
yeah,
not-
because they were the X Factor, weren't they? Yeah, I think
Can't
so,
remember which
yeah.
it was.
If I remember rightly, they did. I don't know the full. I've not seen it fully, but I've got a feeling they did anyway.
So, Joe, have you got any experience of riding this beast?
Yeah, I only once. I've actually only ever been to Drayton Manor one time, and it was back in the day that this was here. I think it is. This sort of embodies the idea of if it hasn't been done previously, there's usually a good reason for that. And as much as that, the weird lift hill into the inversion thing was interesting, it was just rubbish and painful. And it looks great. I agree. It looks really interesting. I don't really remember any of the storyline. I think I remember the queue line was quite bare. It was quite like industrial, and I think there was
Did
like
Tesla coils work when you went on it?
no, I don't remember any of that.
Mm.
So that
Don't
might
see
have added to it. But when I went, it just seemed like quite an industrial sort of like warehouse queue, and then
Yeah.
the ride was very, very odd. It was back in the day when I'd only just recently started to go on roller coasters as well. So I sort of thought to myself, okay, no, I do like it because it's interesting. But looking back on it, and since doing a lot more roller coasters, it's just odd. And it makes sense why it's shut. I think someone said their maintenance costs, but I wouldn't be surprised if it also shut because no one liked it.
No,
Just saying hey to Sneaky
I don't
Sarah,
know.
by the way, not just like
I'll start with Sarah of Trek and Taylor. Did you ever get to experience G-Force?
I don't think I did, and it's bizarre because I've definitely been to Drayton Manor within that time period, so I don't understand why I haven't. But I've got absolutely zero memory of it, and I think from what everybody's saying, if I'd ridden it, I would remember it. So I think the concept of it, having that unusual lift hill into the loop, is an interesting concept, and it's different. And it's something that I haven't seen anywhere else before. But if it's that uncomfortable, then it's not a success, is it?
No.
The restraints kind of went across your lap, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like a lap bar, but it was
overhead.
kind of curved. It was.
Yeah, it was kind of across, wasn't it? From what I remember.
Was it just the amount of hang time? Was it like a slow hang that made it uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was literally just pulling you through the loop.
Yeah.
Like the loop was the lift hill, and then it lets go of you when you've just gone over half. If you're at the back, it's not too bad because by the time it's let go, you've not had to go through it as much.
If you're near the front, I'd say it's like 7 seconds being upside down, but that's just
Yeah, I also don't
for a
really
very
know,
long time, probably.
I don't know why they called it G-force either, because I don't imagine that other than the literally hanging from your your waist. I don't imagine what sort of G's it really pulled.
I think it's just the speed that it was doing.
I don't even remember it being that fast.
Speed, though. It
And
kind of
it didn't have a. There was no drop or anything. It just sort of coasted round. Just.
I'll ask James. Have you got any opinions of it?
Well, I didn't ride it, as far as I remember. I like the idea of that invert, even though it sounds uncomfortable. I do like the idea of that. But the POVs that I've watched, after you've done the invert, it looks boring after that. It's like the invert, the very start is the ride.
Yeah,
but
is that not
so is Rita.
Yeah, is that not the same with many rides, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's sometimes more to a ride as you go through.
Like Hero at Flamingo Land. Once you've done the lying down and up in a spiral, the rest of it is.
Is it fair to say? I don't know what they could have kept it because Drayton Manor, to me, I'm going to say it now. I don't think it's worth the 30 quid they charge you to get in for what they've got. Now, not everyone has to agree with me on that, but it seems like G-Force was another one of these rides Drayton got that was so different to anything else in the country. Like Shockwave was the only stand-up coaster.
Yeah.
G-Force did this thing in the loop, and it's really weird how they're kind of conforming to doing normal things with rides now.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Is that someone standing on the track?
Yeah, this is a story I've told you about. This is from my behind-the-scenes blog.
So yeah, Mike kept saying it in previous lives about him going, and they had to climb across.
We had to walk across those wheels, but I don't know what would have happened if we fallen in, because they literally just said, "Oh yeah, well," didn't say, "Oh yeah, we'll go in the entrance." We went in the exit, and they're like, "Yeah, just walk across. We'll show you." We got a behind-the-scenes tour, basically.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Dan from Ginger and Brown was there.
Ginger and Brown.
He literally phoned up on the Monday and said, "Can we have a tour?" I don't know if there was misinformation and they thought we were an enthusiast group. They just turned around and went, "Yeah, come Saturday." Got to a shop because Dan from Ginger and Brown is dispatched Shockwave, and I've got that on film, and he's really proud of that.
Oh.
Yeah,
And-
I don't know if these people work there anymore after letting us do that.
I was gonna say I didn't know you at the time, but I just remember watching these.
This was
vlogs
this
before
was
I met
when
Mike,
I did
before I
something
actually
that Daryl would approve of,
hooked
and
up
no
with
one else would.
Yeah.
Would you have done that, Daryl? Walked on those wheels across the. It was quite a big step as well. It doesn't look big there.
No chance. I would have no chance. No chance at all. No. I would not do that. No, that's stupid. It's really silly.
Oh.
I wouldn't do that. No.
That's the line. Like, that's the line.
Maybe,
You can't
I
cross
don't
that
know.
line.
Yeah, maybe throw in wet tissue balls at someone as it's going by,
No,
but
don't get to that again.
no.
See, Darryl, I thought you'd be okay on those wheels if you're not in your banana suits, but obviously if you're in your banana suit, you might slip too easy.
Exactly that. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I might have been. Yes, I might have peeled very well.
Yes.
Peeled very well.
So
Glad you
James,
mentioned that, James.
James, have you been on the Wild Mouse that used to be at Blackpool?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
What do you feel about this ride?
Absolutely love that type of ride. You can't beat a rib cracking type of ride where you literally are being slung around the corners and whatever. To me, it's like rattlesnake, similar.
Similar. Wild mouse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Mad Mouse, Wild
these
Mouse,
rides have me laughing all the way through because not because of how crap they are, but just because of how violent they can be when they go round and you just get slung around as well. I love it. So that might give you a clue to where I'm going tonight.
Because I think I've got
It's
a
like
photo
you get
here.
whipped around, but you're on a track.
Yeah.
In a way,
I got-
it's like the whip.
I've got a photo. You literally only had a seatbelt in there.
Yeah, and I was
Insane. And you could sit. Did they let you sit 2 adults in there? Didn't they?
They did, and at the time, they only had one seatbelt, even if they had 2 adults in there.
Yeah.
And then they finally added a second seatbelt.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the second seatbelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did some improvements after it opened in 1957. Not that I've watched a video very recently.
Yeah. I was going to say it was like about the 1950s when it was built, wasn't it? Like
First wooden roller coaster, apparently.
Wooden one.
They did, yes. And also the first wooden one that they removed, apparently.
Yeah.
Did Sarah ever ride the
I
Wild
did.
Mouse?
I did. I'm not a fan. I'm
No?
not a fan of mice type rides. I don't like the feeling that you're coming to the end of the track and then just veering off quickly.
That's awesome.
I don't like that.
Do you remember
safe.
the danger on the lift hill as well? The lift hill, there was that bit of wood, didn't say to duck on it because it was really low when you went up the lift hill, if I remember rightly.
I don't remember that, but it sounds about right.
That sounds great.
They just, I will ride any coaster, I don't care, but these just feel unsafe.
I love it. Yeah.
Joe, did you ever experience the?
No. I'm going to shock everyone. I've actually never been to Blackpool, so I've been to the city, but not to the pier itself. No, I'm completely with James on this one. I love those old, like you feel like you're going to die at any moment. I absolutely love them. Ella's not a big fan, but I absolutely love it. We went to Brighton early on in the summer, early spring. And we did the turbo coaster there. Turbo coaster, yeah, which we'd never done. We'd never done it before, and I was laughing the whole way. Ella was trying her best not to break everything. But yeah, I think this week. It's the debate between the right kind of uncomfortable and the wrong kind of uncomfortable. And yeah, I think this sums it up. You know, those. you know, you said Rattlesnake as well, Sarah. I love that ride. It's great fun. You know, the being thrown on one side and the other side. So I would have loved to experience this. It looks absolutely awesome. And these sort of rides are part of our sort of theme park history. So, you know, it's a shame that we don't really have any of these anymore.
Yeah.
Posted with the Jonas said Wild Mouse was a neck snapper.
Yeah, I love it. It harks back to a day where health and safety, like, who cares? Who cares? It's all good.
You come off with whiplash and you have to go on again, just put your neck back in.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I think it was the airtime on the drops because that seatbelt wasn't really holding you in, so you kind of.
Yeah.
David, did you ever? You must have experienced the Wild Mouse.
Well, actually, no, I haven't. But
No.
no, and I think that's quite ironic. But I think the thing with the Wild Mouse is, first of all, it's one of those classic woodies from Pleasure Beach, and ironically, it was the last one built and the first one closed. Designed by Pleasure Beach themselves. So I think that says quite a lot as well for the park, designing their own rides. There's still a lot of wild mouses around of different kinds, so I think it was sort of a predecessor to a lot of the modern wild mouses, whether you like them or not. Rattlesnake, I think that, you know, that's quite a good ride, quite a fun ride. I can imagine there was quite a lot of airtime, and I can imagine it was quite a lot of good fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's a classic woody. It's, you know,
There's a lot of speed as well. I mean, we're comparing it to Rattlesnake, which is a slightly different type of coaster. But Rattlesnake kind of stop and starts, whereas this was just it had sharp turns, but it was constantly going. You can't really tell in that picture, but the bit that kind of came out, it was kind of slightly banked and slightly downhill going around that corner, so it picked up a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Well, did it have any brake sections at all?
I don't know if it had any till the end. It must have
I
done.
believe it did.
They had apparently it was they had manual brakes to start off with, and then magnetic brakes actually quite late, around about I think 2015, something like that.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah,
The good
when
old
we
days.
first heard about Wild Mouse, my brain automatically went to, because I've not been on the Blackpool Pleasure Beach one. My brain automatically went to the one which was at Pleasurewood Hills, which I know is completely different. It's a metal
It's the
version,
same as Rattlesnake, but
the
it's just
fact
mirrored.
that it just flips you side to side.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'd say this was more comfortable than that side.
So,
but yeah.
Yeah.
But now
that's how I can.
But now it's
visualise the
time for
feeling.
Daryl to tell us his thoughts on the Wild Mouse at Blackpool.
Well, again, I've not done the ride. I have seen it in person. And there's two reasons why I didn't want to do it. one, safety reasons.
So you visited when it was open?
Yeah, I have done.
You chose
many
against
times, yeah. In fact, actually, my first girlfriend, who was from from Oxford, but then lived in Blackpool then, we had our first sort of date there, sort of thing, and went on a couple of rides. No, but the second reason why is because to me, it even though I'm not a wooden coaster fan, it just wasn't my type of coaster really to ride.
What put you off?
To be honest with you, I didn't like the theming of it. I think the theming, it bared a lot of theming, and I'm going to agree with Sarah on the previous videos that we've done. I'm more of a theming type guy, but a lot of people think Blackpool Pleasure Beach is a theme park. It's actually an amusement park. If you look at the other rides that are at Blackpool Pleasure Beach now, you notice that there's only little bits of theming, where if you go to, say, Alton Towers or one of the Merlin parks, that's all themed. They've got themed areas.
I think they're very much trying to reinvent themselves, though, aren't they? Because
Pretty
they are.
much,
You look at a ride like Valhalla, you can't say that would be out of place at Alton Towers or a Merlin park, or even a Disney park.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and having you said that, Joe, I do think that the ride itself really, it just didn't appeal to me. It just did not appeal to me whatsoever. Like I said, it lacked in theming.
If you had to say something nice about it, Daryl, just play devil's advocate for a second. Is there something nice you could say about it?
I'd say the station with the pictures of the mouses looked okay, really, but other than that, it was not my one of my top faves. It was one of my top worst, I think, really, looking at off-ride. It looked to me like a very poor ride, really. Especially the theme where it's just cardboard or wooden cutouts of mouses and that kind of thing. I'll say the only good thing about it was that water fountain in the middle, really, that it had, where you can chuck money in it. But other than that, it was just a poor ride, really.
Yeah. Would you say that Wild Mouse then is less themed than G-Force then?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. G-Force is more heavily themed, whereas Wild Mouse, the theme, it just lacked on theming. It lacked on everything, really. When Theme Park Worldwide did their meetup event a few years ago, and they all rode it, a lot of them said, when I met them a few weeks after the event, they said it was the worst ride they ever had. It really was. And they said,
See, I kind of argue with that a bit in a way, because I think G-Force is a lot less themed than the Wild Mouse, if I'm quite honest.
Has anyone got anything nice to say about
But
Wild
anyone
Mouse?
else? Anyone else think differently to put in? But
I'm going to say that neither of them are themed.
Yeah,
they're not.
No, I agree with that.
There's not that much behind it, other than that the only thing I can think of theming wise is that the Wild Mouse has got, obviously, the carriages literally look like a mouse.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. And obviously you've got the sort of like quickness like you would have of a mouse when you're on the track, sort of thing. That's how I see it as the type of theming. But obviously I know everyone looks at it and interprets it in a different way. But with G-Force, when you were saying something about a Tesla coil, Mike, I don't remember seeing anything like that, to be honest. But there's probably some like near the track on the floor.
Because if you notice, the station's quite high off the ground.
There was no like story or anything
with
behind
G-Force, and I'll get a photo of it somewhere. The station was quite high off the ground. I mean, you can see like the brake run there.
Yeah.
And basically, the downstairs of the building where most of the queue was, you had Windows Media Player, kind of, you know, when you had Windows Media Player back then, that was on the wall,
right? Yeah.
And there were 2 Tesla coils in the ceiling, but they hardly ever worked. Yeah, it was one of those things again where Drayton put a lot of stairs in the queue line, and you think this can't be safe.
I just remember going in a giant metal shed and going up the stairs and the metal stairs to get to it. But
what
that's all
were
I
on the
remember.
ceiling? What were on the ceiling?
Testicles, like the ones in 13 that are in that cage. There were 2 on the ceiling hanging down, but because they're so far away from everyone, they don't cage them.
Got you.
And they go off sometimes with the electric. But
see, I'm convinced Daryl's going to save the Wild Mouse, even though he's just slated it.
hang on a sec. Did you say testicles?
Oh gosh, no! Just don't speak.
Tesla coils. You
Oh, so
I think
I mean, you get rude to have testicles dangling down in a.
See, everybody thought you
We're getting taken off YouTube, everyone.
Right, slip up.
Has anyone got any... James, did you want to say something nice about Wild Mouse just to counteract Daryl?
Wild Mouse, fantastic ride. Absolutely one of those rides where you get on, you get slung about in a fun way, and you get off with a massive smile on your face. It doesn't do any inversions or anything like that. It's just a fast, sharp ride where you wish you got more padding in the mouse, but that's part of the fun.
Has anyone got anything nice to say about G-Force?
I think the inversion thing's quite unique.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I also think as well, I like the way how it's all been painted and how it was all maintained, really, in terms of, you know, it kept to its standards, really. You can see the red paint, where the following year you get green algae and it's never been touched. It looked to me like they actually looked after it throughout its whole time.
It looks brilliant. It reminds me a bit of is it the Ferrari roller coaster at
that's what I was going to say, yeah.
The one at
Tarzanland, is it? Was it Tarzanland or no?
No, Energylandia. Energylandia.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It looks a bit like that with the red, and the cat cars look the same as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm completely with James on this one. Like, Wild Mouse looks great fun. Yeah. This looks great, but just
looks great. I'm struggling to understand why it's not there because it looks such a modern and good roller coaster.
Yeah.
Before we get to the last person to ask which one they'd vote for, can I mention my polls? as in like the
As
ones
in
that I've put
past.
up on my stories.
Yeah, you can mention what people said.
Not the rude ones, thank you. Do you want me to mention it now?
Yeah, you
or-
can mention it now, and then we'll get to the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the voting polls that I put on my story so far, thank you all for voting and joining in as well. And actually, some of you actually messaged me why it was so good as well. G-Force got 44%, and obviously the rest, which is 56, was for Wild Mouse.
Wow.
And then for
Wow.
Mike,
The same. That's really
he's
weird.
got the exact same. But the weirdest
different
thing
people.
is, every hour I've been looking and it's been 50-50, and then the other way 50-50, and it's just been this past 24 hours I've been checking every hour, and it's just flipped from one to another. So
I didn't think it was going to be
That's
that close.
interesting.
No.
it's quite close.
So
That's interesting. That's very interesting,
Mm.
Stacey. To
Brexit
actually
level
say that,
voting.
for you to say that, I was expecting it to be a little bit more
If any-
toward
Don't
Wild
say
Mouse
it.
more, but yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see
We'll
what
see if
everyone
anyone in
else's
the chat
votes
wants to
are as
convince
well,
the panel before we go to the vote.
yeah, there's a few of
All
you
I'm
that
going
have
to say
already
is
DM'd me, but put it on here
G-Force-
as well if you want to. So.
if anyone in the chat wants to convince the panel quickly before we get to that, I just want to say, I think in G-Force's defense, it was unique, and it wasn't very fast, but it kept a good pace throughout the whole thing.
But bearing in mind as well that previous live that we've had, we've also voted for ones that have been unique rides that are no longer existing, of course, such as the Slammer.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. I'm just thinking of swaying that way, but then also it's like, well, there's
Wild Mouse is good
there's
though.
a ride that's been unique, first start of an influence of many. Yeah, I'll keep it vague, but yeah,
But would you-
it's down to you
But
guys,
I don't
not
know.
me.
Following that argument, would you want to vote for something that's not unique on the basis that other unique rides have got through? Is that
Would you want to
a
bring
way
it
to
back
vote?
for the uniqueness, or would you want to bring it back just for the nostalgia
I'm going to
and the?
I think I'll go to Daryl
Memories.
first. Daryl, do you want to talk us through your decision and how you've come to it?
So, this is a very, very easy one again, because even though I've not ridden both of the rides, I think they're both unique. However, one for me lacks on theming, and one for me is good on theming, is more modern and much more better. So, my decision is, and this is like what it's going to be like on Britain's Got Talent later tonight.
Why do you keep plugging up TV?
My decision, and I've made it very, very clear all day, and actually, most of the day, it is going to be G-Force.
Oh, G-Force has got a vote. I don't know what the chat's going to be like about that. Because I always normally end on James and Sarah, so I'll go to James next and then Sarah after that. James, do you want to talk us through?
Yeah. So I mean, I would say most people know which way I'm going to go. G-Force looks really good. I'm more surprised that G-Force still isn't there now, just because of how modern it is, etc. I'm quite shocked it still isn't there. But for me, I'm voting for the Mouse just because it makes me laugh. That type of ride and that one just makes me laugh and smile. And also, even though as kids we didn't actually go on the rides at the Pleasure Beach, when we used to walk through it at night, that is one of those rides that I can picture now looking up at it and thinking that looks fantastic. So for me, I'd like to see the Wild Mouse back.
Good.
So Sarah, is it going to be about theming for you, or what are you going to go for?
It's not about theming today, because I don't think either of them are particularly well themed, so that doesn't even really come into it. My vote is going to be G-Force, purely because
Do you want to talk us through why? Do you want to talk us through why it's G-Force?
because it's quite a unique. It's got a unique feature to it, and in Sarah's fantasy theme park world, I would rather have a theme park that is well themed and full of unique and different rides than another generic ride that, as we've said, you could find in multiple amusement parks in multiple places across the world and is still there today. So for me, G-Force.
Yeah.
Joe, do you want to talk us through your decision next?
Yeah. Again, this is a pretty easy one for me. And I think this is the first week where I voted against the ride that I've done. So yeah, it's going to be Wild Mouse. I think, I get that the the invert, the lift hill invert is like cool and stuff, but nowadays we have stalls on metal coasters. We have. I'm even thinking of the Swarm. When you first come off of that lift hill and you turn before you get the exact same feeling there without the pain, and then you have a good ride afterwards. Building an element like that at the beginning of the ride is fine, but you have to then follow it with a decent coaster, and I just don't think it had that. Wild Mouse looks great fun. It's the sort of thing I'd love. I can imagine going on it with mates and just having an absolute laugh. The fact that I think one of you said you used to be able to get 2 people in those little carriages is insanity. I love a janky ride. Wild Mouse is a part of our history and part of Pleasure Beach's history. So it's got to be Wild Mouse.
Oh wow! So we've got
no pressure, David.
2 G-Force and 2.
Well,
Wild
it
Mouse.
wouldn't have changed my vote anyway, to be honest. In G-Force's defence, the lift hill I thought was quite unique. I thought it was quite a painful ride. Looking at the pictures and memories of it, it looks like it was well maintained and looked after. I'm absolutely amazed for the age of it that it's shut. But other than that, I didn't really enjoy it that much. Wild Mouse, I think, is part of Pleasure Beach's history, designed by Pleasure Beach itself. There's so many Wild Mouses around, and a lot newer than that one. So I think it's generated quite a lot of interest. I think it's a very popular ride. I think it would be a very fun ride. I think you would get chucked about quite a lot, but in a fun way. Before I even come onto this show tonight, to be honest, I would have said the Wild Mouse. I'm sticking by that.
You vote for the Wild Mouse?
Yes.
Yeah, Wild Mouse.
Oh,
Wild Mouse! Yay!
No.
So that is semi-final set now.
Wowzers! Oh my gosh! Oh, a huge thank you to everybody that's helped him with the photos as well for this show, which is
Richard Smiler Jones.
Smiler Jones and Theme Park James.
Theme Park James, yeah.
Yeah. So just to say a huge thank you again for the
Corkscrew Black Hole Slammer will be on Sunday this week. So it will be this week again. We're going to be on Sunday instead of Monday for everyone at home, but that'll be advertised a lot so you don't miss it. But, I don't know what everyone would have said if G-Force had gone through. I'm surprised it was that close again.
No, Coasting with the Joneses. Yay, the mouse got the cheese.
Out of curiosity, guys, how would you have voted?
I would have voted Wild Mouse. I didn't really want to say it on air to kind of waver anyone's views, but I still stand by. That's the best ride Blackpool Pleasure Beach have ever had.
So I got the memory of G-Force, but I didn't go on Blackpool Pleasure Beach. But I did have that, like you said, Joe, like happy to be thrown around and go on it for a laugh, which I know I shouldn't relate to the Pleasurewood Hills one, but that's how I recall it with the sharp turns.
So what would you vote for?
Looking at the paths, and I would have gone for Wild Mouse as well. So, but I like my wooden coasters as well, so that swayed me more. So I think I would have really enjoyed it if it was still open to this day.
We're not voting for Corkscrew now, Joe. Not Joe.
Oh,
Andy. Because Andy's put a lot on the line. He's going on Battle Galleons.
Oh, he will. He will.
Well, just to put your minds at rest, these 3 rides have all got people who have entered the competition voting for them.
Oh,
even Slammer. There's even people.
I'm very surprised that someone's voted for Slammer. I like that.
Black Hole and Slammer.
It's gonna be a 3-way one next.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
That's the first semi-final coming up on Sunday at 7.
I've got to get another poll.
And yeah, if anyone wants to enter the competition, it ends at 8 p.m. It's on our Instagram. You just got to tell us which ride you think is going to win the bracket, and and tag someone else and be following us, and then everyone who's guessed the right one will be put into a draw.
Share it, get everyone to join in on the chat and this conversation, discussion, try and convince all of these lovely people like which one we should choose. So, it's going to be a tough one, I think. It's quite a tough one.
I've got all the.
Some people might say there's only one clear winner out of all this.
Yeah, everyone's saying it'll be interesting next week. I think there's going to be. Oh, I don't want to say.
Oh,
I think that looks like one of those is not like the other 2.
One of the others.
But it depends what you want to vote for, really. But yeah, I've got the links in the description. I'll start with James and Sarah. Do you want to plug any of your
Got
content?
Mouse Scoop on Friday,
Yeah,
haven't we?
Mouse Scoop on
Yeah.
Friday.
More news coming out, so we've got Mouse Scoop this Friday. And where else have we been? Done.
What about the wheel?
We got the wheel meal.
Food wheel.
the meal wheel.
The meal wheel.
When we went out on Saturday and let the wheel choose the meal. That didn't work out quite right for us, did it?
No.
But good, it should be good.
Actually, it looked like good fun when you were doing it.
It was. It was good fun doing the wheel. It wasn't such good fun eating the mains.
Oh.
Is that video up? yet?
We shall see.
No, not yet. Not yet.
I'm looking forward to that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it more than if you said it was amazing food now that you've said that.
It was not.
So, Joe, do you want to plug anything, Joe?
No, but we've been away for a while, but by the end of this week, we will have some videos up. Perhaps a bite-sized review, and we'll be picking up...
this week?
Yes, we'll be picking up this week on Friday as well. So back to normality for us, because we've had a little bit of a posting holiday, we'll say. But yeah, we're back on it, and there'll be some videos up by the end of the week. So keep your eyes peeled.
Awesome.
And I know David doesn't usually post a lot of stuff, but he usually tells us about where he's going next on his trips. So, David, have you got any big trips?
Well, it's the same places I've been telling you for the last couple of weeks. And it's short back and
Looking forward to Ghost Train.
I am looking forward to seeing what it's about. Some of the reviews seem quite positive. I'm trying to stare away from them too much, but it'll be interesting to see how it has changed. And I don't think looking at next Sunday's choices, it's going to be as easy a decision for a winner for me next week. So,
Interesting.
And Daryl, without admitting to any kind of vandalism, have you want to tell us what you've got coming up?
Yeah, I'll be at Alton Towers to ride Nemesis of Terror for the first time. Never ridden it before, so I'm looking forward to seeing the famous, as I call it, rotten egg. And my vlog from Thorpe Park's Mardi Gras featuring a dancing mugger is now online as well. And on Sunday, I'll be at Chessington World of Adventures for a few hours for their Mardi Gras event. Mind you, though, I've got to make sure I got to get my gold Frankenstein and Mardi Gras before I go over to Chessington.
Gold Frankenstein.
Gold frankincense.
Oh, okay, frankincense. He said Frankenstein. I wondered what he meant. I thought he was meant to say Beerstein. I didn't know he was a fan of the Bible. So, you got anything you want to mention before we go?
No, I just want to say a huge thank you everyone for commenting and voting on the polls and trying to convince me as well which one to pick. So yeah, thank you. It's much appreciated. Oh, yeah. Dancing mugger. Do they dance with a mug?
Go on.
It's like what that's
you
about.
got to go on Daryl's vlog. That's the big selling point. We can't ruin it for you, Ben.
Can I just say, I think I remember the ending of the video.
Oh, you mean our catchphrase? Or...
Yes.
I was just going to mention one more
You want to
thing.
mention one more thing?
You're setting yourself up for failure here, Daryl.
I'm just going to plug in someone else because recently I've been listening to Scare Seekers podcast. They have Timothy the Clown.
Who's Timothy the Clown?
The scare attraction outside Blackpool Pleasure
Passage del
Beach.
Terra.
Passage del Terra. It is so good. If you've got Spotify, it's free to download, and you just basically just hook up with the podcast, The Scare Seekers, and it's just such good fun to listen to, honestly, if you like spooky stuff. So honestly, go ahead, just go listen to them or follow them on Instagram as well. So there we go. I just thought I'd plug them in, but yeah, just for those that are missing the spooky season.
So Daryl, you can hang on, Daniel's saying something quickly before we go.
Oh, depending on what time I get back from. Oh, that'd be interesting, Daniel.
A special guest.
Oh, that'd be good.
You're all special guests.
And, you're all amazing. Every single one.
Daryl,
of
do you want to?
I'll have to DM Mike.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
Let's see if Daryl's put himself out there now. Daryl, do you know the catchphrase?
I certainly do. See you in the review, because for now, we're gone.